In Egypt, the river Nile creates a fertile green valley across the desert. It was by the banks of the river that one of the oldest civilizations in the world began. The ancient Egyptians lived and farmed along the Nile, using the soil to produce food for themselves and their animals. Today, we will stop by some of the important sites to visit that are located on the River Nile. But first of all, what do you know about the Nilometer? The Nilometer in modern Cairo on the southern tip of Rauda Island facing El Fustat to the east is a unique historical site often overlooked by visitors to Cairo. It has the properties of being one of the oldest structures in Cairo, built after the Arab conquest, as well as having a link to Egypt's pharaonic past. This millimeter is in Arabic known as miqyas or miqyas al-Nil. It was used to measure the flood levels of the Nile River and is a heritage of Egypt's distant past, when such structures dotted the course of Egypt's Grand River. These types of devices continued to be useful up until the modern era, when the Nile was tamed by modern dams. During August and September, it was used to regulate the distribution of water, as well as to compute the levy of taxes paid as tribute by Egypt to the Arab Caliph, since the generosity of the Nile was in large part an indication of Egypt's prosperity. It was built by order of the Abbasid Caliph al-Mutawakkil, under the direction of Ahmad ibn Muhammad al-Hasib at the end of his reign in 861. This nilometer is a somewhat more sophisticated instrument than earlier examples, such as the one on Elephantine Island in the Nile at Aswan. Consists of a pit that extends well below the level of the Nile, that in turn connects with the Nile through tunnels dug on 3 levels on its eastern side. These tunnels are now blocked off from the Nile, so that the nilometer no longer functions. The pit, which is lined with stone, is circular at the bottom and rectangular at the top, and is accessed by a staircase on the interior walls. Its walls have four recesses with pointed arches and small, relatively thin columns to either side, adorned with two types of zigzag framing decorations carved on its stone voussoirs. In the center of the pit, a marble octagonal column with a Corinthian capital that rises from its depths, surmounting a milestone. At the top, there is a wooden beam spanning the Nilometer to measure the Nile flood. This column is graded and divided into 19 cubits. A cubit is slightly more than half a meter, and hence it was capable of measuring floods up to about 9.2 meters. The flood that this Nilometer measured was both important to the rulers of Egypt as well as the whole population. An ideal flood filled the Nilometer up to the 16th mark, and less than this could mean drought and famine. On the other hand, if the measurement exceeded the 19 cubits, a catastrophic flood was at hand. In the days prior to the expected flood, this column would be anointed with saffron and musk in order to help induce a good water level. At least it shows how people in the past used to live and manage their daily life and calculate days of floods. But the most important thing about these people is that they were very organized, always have alternatives, and ready for any natural disaster, which sometimes some people lack today with all the available technologies. If you have time, just try to stop also by Kulthum Museum, another landmark, but in singing. The museum is next to the Nilometer on Rhode Island. Kulthum occupies an undisputedly unique position in Oriental songs. She was known in Arabic as Kawkab al-Sharq, or Star of the East. for she was the most powerful symbol in the Middle East. She was also called El-Sit, for she was seen as the lady. Regarded as the most gifted female voice of the 20th century. She had a popularity that knew no boundaries and was as phenomenal as was her voice. Not only was she considered a legend in the Arab countries, but her voice also reached many parts of the world at a time when Arabic music seemed like a mystery to much of the Western world. She was born into a poor family in a small village east of the Nile Delta in 1904. Kulthum was the youngest of 3 children and lived the normal, simple life of the country. As a peasant's daughter, she grew up under the influence of religious instructions. Kulthum was taught religious chants from her father, an imam or Quran reader at a local mosque, as a kind of education. With time, he became impressed with her keen memorization and the astonishing strength of her voice.